On this episode I got up my brand new second-hand wheels, which gave me a huge headache, and I also get some custom parts made, and we're spending big on performance and riding upgrades to get this project rolling again. The first performance upgrade is coming from a K100, which exhaust is way shorter and also lighter. So I got that blasted and cerakoted in graphite black. Before I install the K100 exhaust on the K1200, I'm pretty curious about the weight difference between those. So let's check it out. The scale says 13.5 kilograms versus the K100 exhaust, which is only 3 kilograms. So by upgrading the exhaust we already saved up more than 10 kilograms, but I'm not that sure on the exhaust tip, but we'll get back to that later. And then I continued on working on the frame. So I got the frame blasted and then I painted the frame by myself in the 2K satin black. Unfortunately I lost the footage of me painting the frame due to the crash of my external hard drive. When the paint was nicely cured, I was able to tap in the bearings and then followed up by the controlling arm to get it all lowered again to put on the frame. When the frame has been put on and mounted up to the engine, it was time to put on the swing arm, followed up by the final drive. Then we could continue on the next upgrade. The first performance upgrade is now effective with the K100 exhaust pipes and also with the shortened damper, and also the frame has been put on. Now it's time to talk about the rest of the performance upgrades, so for the air and also for the fuel. And the first things that we're going to talk about is the custom air intakes, and those are in the box over there. It's coming from a buddy of mine. It's called Custom Cafe Racer. You can follow him on Instagram and also on YouTube. So let's open it up and check what's inside. From the moment when I saw Brian his K1200 Cafe Racer, I directly noticed these custom air intakes on his bike, and one thing I knew, I really wanted to have them on my K1200. So I reached out to him and asked if these were also available on the K1200, and as it turns out, the diameter of the K1200 throttle body is slightly bigger compared to the K1100, and also the spacing between the throttle bodies was just a little bit different. Together we worked out all the measurements, so right now these are the prototypes for my bike, so these will be available via Brian on his Instagram page, Custom Cafe Racer, and he also provided the DNA high performance air filters along with it, so a full plug and play kit. So now it's time to check it out if it fits. Smooth. Perfect. So now we sorted out the air and the flow. Now we need fuel. And for the fueling upgrades, yeah, these won't cut it. So the old ones, since these are from the late 90s, these won't work. So I shopped again at K Parts Holland and got the upgraded injectors right here. So these are 4-point injectors, maybe kind of hard to see. Yeah, there we go. So 4-point injectors instead of the single-point injectors right here. So the great benefit of these injectors are that they will give a better air to fuel mixture and thus a faster and better combustion inside the cylinders, and that will result in a quicker response on the throttle and also increase the power just a little bit, and also for a better running engine. So with a little bit of grease around the O-rings, it was time to put them on the fueling rail, and then the fueling rail could be put on the engine, and then I could work on the front calipers. With the calipers now rebuilt, it's time to rebuild the forks. So got some new oil, new seals, everything is cerakoted, also for the top clamps. So let's button it all up and put it on the bike. I was struggling quite a bit to get the new tube seals in. Obviously the old ones were pretty overdue, but they can't seem to fit, and as it turns out, I ordered the wrong color. Let me explain. So as you can see, the old tube seals are 47 millimeters, and the replacement ones that I bought previously are 48 millimeters, so 1 millimeter difference. And the original one from BMW are, like they're supposed to be, 47 millimeters. I don't know why the original ones are red, but it doesn't really matter. I really hope they fit, so I continue on building all the front legs. So these come as a set, so these are red obviously, but luckily the old ones are still in great shape, so I'd rather keep it all black instead of the red dust cap on top of the front leg. Luckily the original seals from BMW fit right in without any issues, so I continue on working on the fork legs and fill them up with oil. With the fork seals from BMW I was able to button it all together, and now they're filled up with oil, so that's all done, no leaks or whatever. And also put on the calipers, but I'm not quite sure on the color of the calipers just yet. I think it's a little bit dull, so I want to go with a little bit more pop on that to go with the color scheme that I have in mind for the fuel tank, but more about that later. I also put on the bar risers with the handlebar, so that at least the look that I'm aiming for this bike. But before we put on the legs on the bike, let's talk about the next upgrade, and that's the suspension. This upgrade is an expensive one. Actually, this box is more expensive than the donor bike itself. So at first I researched on rebuilding the shocks. So as you can see, they've seen better days, but that wasn't feasible. So then, yeah, I made a decision to buy brand new ones. So it looks like I made the right decision on that. So these look awesome. So actually when you have them side by side, yeah, it was definitely worth selling my kidney for these ones. So these are also spring load adjustable. The only thing I have to do is transfer and clean the bushes from here on the new shock, and then I can put them on the bike. So I'm pretty excited for that. The rear shock absorber could easily find its way in the frame and also in the swing arm. It was only then the front shock absorber gave just a little bit of clearance issues between the frame and the trailing arm. But once that was sorted out, I could fit on the front legs and put on the top clamp. Now on to the wheels. We all know that K1200 wheels only belong to the K1100 and K100 builds. So out with the old ones and in with my lovely corroded brand new second-hand wheels. The rear wheel was just easy plug and play fit on the hub. It only needed a R1150 rear caliper, but having a 17-inch rear wheel and a 19-inch front wheel made it look like a motocross bike to me. So I traded in the front wheel for an 18-inch and it already looked way better. But still, I was far from satisfied with the tungsten grey calipers, so I reblasted them, gave them a coat of primer, and I got a color with just a little bit more pop to it. Yeah, way better. Once the base coat was cured up, I sanded down the lettering and gave it a couple layers of clear coat, and the result is way better. This color is called Imola Red, and I've got inspiration from the newer M-style cars. And now on to the biggest headache of this build so far. So I wanted to fully rebuild the spoke wheels, so I started out by grinding out all the spokes from the wheel. Well, the first part was the easiest part, and as you can see, when I lifted out the hub, all the spokes were falling out just as easy. It was only when I started at the wheel itself that I noticed that the spokes weren't come out as easy as I hoped, and then the headache really started. After that I tried for 8 hours to get one spoke out, and the result was 0. So I tried throwing the wheels in ultrasonic cleaner and put the heat up to 70-80 degrees in the hope that the spokes would loosen up, but the result was nothing. I tried every trick that I knew to loosen up the spokes, but yeah, nothing was working. So I tried searching on YouTube, but I couldn't find anyone who had the same issue with the same wheels that I had. It was only when I found a video that was more than 10 years old from an old Englishman who had the same issue that I had, who tried heat. Lots and lots of heat. I also tried it before, but not in the way that he did. So I'll show you this right now. So the way of working is like this. You put the heat on the end of the spoke for more than 30 seconds until it's red glowing hot. Then you tap out the spoke through the wheel, cut off the head, heat it up again, grip it with a vice grip and tap it out with a hammer. You're welcome. Once I sorted out a way of working, it was pretty straightforward, and then it took me like another 2 hours to get the remaining 79 spokes out. And then before I sent it off to the powder coater, I want to make sure that the wheels were in great condition, so I sanded all the tiny little scratches out. So finally, man, I didn't expect that it would take that long to get all the spokes out, so I think all in all it took me like 12 hours to get everything sorted to the stage where I'm at right now. So all the spokes are out, and also sanded all the lines smooth to get all the scratches and damage out of it, and also masked off this part right here so I still can get a good fitment on the final drive. So I dropped them off at the powder coater right now, and after that I can send them to the guy who will rebuild my wheels. Oh yeah, look what arrived today. The wheels have finally came in, so hopefully the headache will stop right here. So let's unpack them and see how they fit on the bike. Oh yeah, definitely a great choice to go with the red calipers instead of the tungsten gray. So that will give a nice contrast to the bike. When you got fully rebuilt wheels, you can't go without new tires. So I ordered up some new tires and I got them right here. So these Bridgestones in these sizes right here. So the only thing that we need to do is pop them right on. The only thing that was stopping the bike from rolling again was the front axle. It needed a custom bush to get the wheels centered again. So off to the lathe. And after some Cerakote graphite black, it looks nice and stealthy. So then finally, after more than a half a year, I was finally time to put the wheels on the bike to get this project rolling again. Oh yeah, definitely satisfied with the end result. It took a while to get it all pieced up, but in the end, it's really worth it. As you can see, I got a stainless steel exhaust tip. So at first the black one, but I want to give a little bit more contrast to it, also with the stainless steel spokes that I have and all the stainless steel bolts, etc. So in my opinion, it looks way better than the black one. But before I roll the bike outside to give it a glimpse in the daylight, I got another custom piece to install on the hub. This is also supplied by my buddy Custom Cafe Racer, so a nice 3D printed part. I will mount it here on the hub, and then I got a floating BMW logo to go with it. Now that the bike is rolling again, it's time to focus on the next part of the build, and that also includes the wiring. Right here I've got a full K1200 wiring, so I won't be using the K1200 wiring harness, which is way too complicated with the ABS, etc. So this is more or less a slimmed down version that also can be used on the K1200. And when we take a look at the bike, this is more or less the final look that the bike will have. Front fender, I already got it, but it still needs to be mounted up. Both radiators need to be changed due to the accident that the bike had. All the controls on the handlebar. So instead of clip-ons, I will use just a handlebar. Fuel tank is coming from a Suzuki GS that needs some fab work to get it mounted up on the frame, and also needs an external fuel pump to get everything going. And I got a seat right here, so I will get that reupholstered to get it matched with the bike. I used a piece of the original subframe, and that will be more or less like this, and also still need to order a rear fender. So still loads and loads of things to do on the bike. For the fuel tank, I'm planning to do a custom paint job myself, and that requires 6 layers of paint. So if you're interested for that, please subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up to the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao!